Family finances had always been a source of friction in their marriage, but on that particular day, their conflict reached a boiling point. By chance, Elena glimpsed a bank statement and discovered a transaction of 120,000 rubles designated for her mother-in-law's bread and butter. Her own parents, struggling to make ends meet in their rural village, were left to fend for themselves while her husband readily sent substantial sums to his mother. "My parents are starving in the countryside and I'm expected to feed your mother," she blurted out, unable to contain her frustration. "Greetings, dear listeners. I'm delighted to welcome you to my channel. I have a new, engaging story for you today. Please enjoy." Elena had always believed that compromise was the cornerstone of a successful marriage. She had spent 7 years with Oleg, and over that time, she had learned to overlook many things: the unwashed dishes in the sink, forgotten birthdays, and the way he would always frown and begin discussing economic crises and inflation whenever she asked for help for her parents. Her parents resided in the very village where she had been born and raised. Her father had dedicated his life to working as a tractor driver, and her mother had worked at a dairy farm. Their pensions were meager, just over $12,000 for her father and even less for her mother. Their home was old and in constant need of repairs. They required firewood in the winter and relied on their garden in the summer. Every month, Elena sent them 10,000 rubles, sometimes 15. She meticulously managed her own expenses, cutting back on cosmetics and clothing. Oleg was aware of this and seemed unconcerned, remarking, "They're your parents, your money." Elena herself worked as an accountant at a small construction firm, earning around 70,000 rubles. Oleg was employed by an IT company with a salary twice her own. They lived in a one-bedroom apartment purchased with a mortgage, which cost 35,000 rubles a month, plus 7,000 for utilities. The remaining funds were allocated for food, transportation, and minor expenses. Saving was difficult, but they weren't burdened by significant debt. Oleg's mother, Lyudmila Efimovna, lived in a 2-bedroom apartment in a neighboring district, inherited from her late husband. The apartment was well maintained, with modern furnishings. Lyudmila Efimovna's pension was also quite respectable, at 28,000 rubles. However, she was accustomed to a certain lifestyle. She frequented beauty salons, indulged in expensive creams, and enjoyed ordering premium groceries for delivery. Each time Oleg visited, she would begin to complain. "Oh, my dear Oleg," she would sigh dramatically, "I can hardly make ends meet on my paltry pension." She recently mentioned wanting a new coat, only to discover that decent ones started at 8,000 rubles. "Must I walk around in rags?" she lamented. Oleg would invariably nod and promise to help. Initially, Elena refrained from interfering. She understood that everyone had their own parents and responsibilities. However, she gradually noticed that Oleg's support for his mother differed significantly from her support for her own parents. While Elena sent 10,000 rubles, Oleg would send 30. If she bought her father medicine for 3,000 rubles, Oleg would buy his mother a new phone for 50,000. One evening, while they were in the kitchen, Elena cautiously inquired, "Oleg, can't your mother afford to buy a new phone herself? Her pension is quite substantial." Oleg waved her concerns away. "Lena, you understand, she dedicated her life to raising my brother and me. We owe her everything." Elena remained silent. She knew Oleg had a brother, Victor, who lived in another city and provided minimal financial support to their mother. Victor believed Lyudmila Efimovna was responsible for her own financial difficulties, citing her excessive spending on non-essentials. Oleg, conversely, idolized his mother and was willing to do anything to ensure she never lacked anything. During the winter, Elena's father slipped on an icy porch and broke his arm, necessitating surgery and the insertion of a metal plate. The procedure cost 40,000 rubles, which was not covered by insurance. Elena asked Oleg for assistance, at least half the amount. "Lena, are you serious?" Oleg responded, looking at her as if she had asked him to sell a kidney. "We have the mortgage, expenses. Where would I get 20,000 rubles?" "Oleg, he's my father. He's in pain and he needs surgery. Then ask relatives for a loan or get it on an installment plan. Elena ended up taking out a high-interest payday loan, which took her 6 months to repay. Oleg never even inquired about how she managed it. A month later, Lyudmila Efimovna decided she needed a new refrigerator, claiming the old one was too noisy and detrimental to her nerves. Without hesitation, Oleg transferred 55,000 rubles to her. Elena discovered this accidentally when she saw a notification on his phone. "Oleg, are you serious?" she asked, attempting to suppress her irritation. "We just refused to help my father, but you found money for your mother's refrigerator." "Lena, that's different. Mom can't live with that noise. It's giving her migraines. Your father's broken bone will heal. It's not fatal." Elena retreated to the bathroom and stood under the shower for a long time to avoid saying something she would regret. In the spring, her parents called, requesting help with their roof. The old roofing material was leaking, and if it wasn't repaired, the house would be uninhabitable by winter. The cost was 50,000 rubles. Elena saved every penny she could, accumulating a portion of the amount. The rest, once again, had to be borrowed, this time from a friend. When Elena asked Oleg for assistance, he merely shrugged. "Lena, I can't keep helping people every month. I have my own expenses." "What expenses, Oleg?" She couldn't help but exclaim. "We live together. I see everything. Aside from the mortgage and food, what are you spending money on?" "That's none of your business," he retorted curtly. Elena clenched her teeth and didn't press the issue further. In the summer, Lyudmila Efimovna decided to take a vacation to the seaside to restore her health, as she put it. Oleg paid for her 10-day trip to Sochi, costing 30,000 rubles. Elena learned of this when her mother-in-law called, excitedly praising her wonderful son. "Can you imagine, Lena? He even gave me money for excursions. Now I can visit the waterfalls and the dolphinarium." Elena silently nodded into the phone, feeling a knot of resentment tighten in her chest. In the autumn, Elena's mother fell ill, diagnosed with heart problems. The doctor prescribed expensive medication, costing approximately 8,000 rubles each month. Her parents couldn't afford it. Elena took on this expense, but funds were critically low. She tried to discuss the matter with Oleg again. "Oleg, please understand, I need your help. At least 4,000 rubles a month. It's for my mother's medication." "Lena, let's not have hysterics. I'm already helping my mother. I can't support your family as well. And why is your mother sacred, while my parents are a burden?" "Because my mother is accustomed to a comfortable life, and your parents, well, they live in the village. Everything is cheaper there." Elena couldn't contain herself any longer and slammed the door. She went for a walk, wandering the streets for several hours until she was chilled to the bone. Upon her return, Oleg was engrossed in a computer game, not even looking up. Several more months passed. Elena grew accustomed to supporting her parents alone. She stopped asking Oleg for help, realizing it was futile. However, resentment festered within her, heavy as stone. Then, one December evening, as Elena logged into her banking app to send her parents another 10,000 rubles, she saw a statement for their joint account. They had opened it a year prior to conveniently manage mortgage and utility payments. Amidst the usual transactions, she noticed a transfer that sent a chill down her spine. 120,000 rubles to Lyudmila Efimovna's card, with the payment description, "For Mommy's bread and butter." Elena reread the line several times, disbelief etched on her face. 120,000 rubles for bread and butter. Oleg was lounging on the sofa, scrolling through his phone. Elena approached him, holding her smartphone. "Oleg, what is this?" He glanced at the screen and smirked. "Oh, the transfer to Mom? Yes, I helped her. 120,000 rubles. Lena, it's not a joke. She asked for help with bedroom repairs. I assisted. What's the big deal?" "What's the big deal?" Elena felt a surge of anger. "My parents are starving in the village, and you're funding your mother's lifestyle. Do you realize I've been barely scraping by for the last 6 months to help mine? And you're sending your mother 120,000 rubles for repairs she doesn't need. Oleg sat up, his expression turning displeased. Lena, don't yell. First, that's my money. Second, your parents are used to their circumstances, but Mom deserves comfort. She worked her whole life. She's earned it. Used to it. Elena couldn't believe her ears. My father toiled his entire life on a tractor, and my mother worked at a farm. They receive less in their pensions than your mother spends at the beauty salon. Oleg let out a short, contemptuous laugh that cut Elena more deeply than any harsh word. Well, that's their problem. They should have thought about their careers earlier. My mother lived in the city and pursued a career, while yours chose the village. They have to deal with the consequences. He chuckled, pleased with his own logic. But his laughter abruptly ceased when Elena stepped forward and delivered a resounding slap across his face, fueled by genuine emotion. Oleg froze, clutching his cheek, his eyes wide with shock. "What are you doing?" he choked out. "I'm leaving," Elena stated quietly but firmly, "and I'm not coming back." "Lena, are you out of your mind? Over money? We're a family." She let out a bitter laugh. "A family respects each other, and you don't respect me. You don't respect my parents. You believe your mother is entitled to comfort, while mine must struggle to survive? You know what, Oleg? You can keep your family and your mother. I'm done with this. Where will you go? You have nothing. I have parents and I have self-respect, which I almost lost living with you." Elena went into the bedroom, grabbed her suitcase, and began packing. Oleg alternated between shouting, pleading, and then shouting again, but she remained unyielding. She packed the essentials, dressed, and left the apartment. The air outside was cold, and large snowflakes were falling. Elena took out her phone and dialed her friend's number. "Marina, can I stay with you for a couple of days?" Her friend agreed without hesitation or further questions. The following weeks were a blur. Elena filed for divorce and found a lawyer who explained the process of asset division. The apartment was mortgaged and registered in both their names, though Oleg had provided the down payment. The lawyer indicated that the apartment would likely go to Oleg, but Elena was entitled to compensation. "I don't need anything," she stated. "Let him have it." "Are you sure? It's money?" "I'm sure. I don't want anything that connects me to him." Initially, Oleg couldn't fathom she was serious. He called, sent messages, promised to change, and then resorted to threats, suggesting she would regret leaving and end up with nothing. Elena didn't respond. She simply blocked his number and moved on with her life. 2 months later, the divorce was finalized. Elena rented a small studio apartment on the outskirts, 30 square meters. It was in an old building but affordable at 20,000 rubles a month. She finally felt a sense of freedom. She sent her parents 20,000 rubles, freed up by no longer contributing to the mortgage payments. "Daughter, why so much?" her mother asked, bewildered. "Mom, now I can. Now I have the money." In the spring, Elena visited the village. Her parents met her at the gate. Her mother wept, embracing her. "We were so worried about you, dear. Just know you don't owe us anything. We'll manage." "I know, Mom, but I want to help. I want you to have a good life." Her father remained silent, merely shaking her hand firmly. That evening, as they sat at the kitchen table with tea, he said, "You did well, Lena. You made the right decision to leave. A man should respect his family, not put his mother on a pedestal." Elena smiled. For the first time in a long time, she felt at peace. 6 months later, she met Igor. He was an engineer, calm and attentive. They met at a mutual friend's birthday party and struck up a conversation. Igor shared that he had recently divorced, having grown tired of a marriage where he felt used as an ATM. "I want a normal relationship," he said, "one where people respect each other." "Me too," Elena replied. They began dating, taking their time to get to know each other. Igor met her parents, brought them gifts, and helped her father repair the fence. As Elena's mother saw them off one evening, she quietly told her daughter, Now that's a good man. Hold on to him." Elena nodded. She knew it herself. In December, exactly 1 year after that pivotal evening, Elena sat in the kitchen of her small studio apartment. Snow was falling outside, and the kettle was warming on the stove. Her phone vibrated with a message from her mother. "Lena, thank you for the money. Your father and I bought a new television. The old one completely broke down. We also bought a cake to celebrate. Love you, dear." Elena smiled and replied with a heart emoji. She then looked out the window at the falling snow and the lights of the neighboring houses. She felt a sense of peace, a genuine feeling she hadn't experienced in years. On the table lay a card from Igor. He had invited her to celebrate New Year's Eve together at his dacha. "Bring your parents, too," he had written. "My parents will be there as well. We can all meet." She poured herself some tea, picked up the card, and reread it. The snow continued to fall outside, and the city grew quiet. She sat in her small studio, sipping hot tea, contemplating how life sometimes offers a second chance. The most important thing, she thought, is not to be afraid to seize it.